there, many thanks to you for joining me today on yet another episode on Nigerians Abroad. My name is Kofi Opon Ochre, and on Nigerians Abroad, all that we seek to do is to change the narrative when it comes to Nigerians living in the diaspora and the fact that there's a propagation of negative news so much. Meanwhile, sometimes we don't even hear the stories or get a full and pieces of the story so that we can have a better understanding of what really happens or what is really happening proper. So this is the reason why we've come with Nigerians Abroad. So kindly do well to subscribe to our channel. It is Africa Network Television on YouTube, and then do well to subscribe, like our videos, share them, and leave your comments each time you watch them. We would want to hear what you think or what you want to have us do. Just talk to us on the comment section. And then also you can follow us on all social media platforms, on Facebook, on Twitter, which is now X, and on Instagram, it is Africa Network Television. So today on Nigerians Abroad, it's quite an opportunity to sit down with a woman who happens to be the Chief of Staff for the National Association of Nigerian Students, the Ghana chapter. And we're going to have a discussion about what brought her to Ghana. Of course, we know that it's education that brought her to Ghana some 4 years ago, and she's done with her program. What happens thereafter, even after she leaves office and all of that, we're going to have these discussions with the Honorable Chief of Staff in the person of Grace Amarachi Brown. My guest today is Madam Grace Amarachi Brown. Hello. How is it?
I'm fine.
Well,
I'm fine.
I mean, everything around you shows that you're very fine.
Yes, by God's grace.
Is it because that you're enjoying something different from what we do enjoy here in Ghana?
I said, and I'm repeating myself, it's God's grace.
It's the grace of God.
Sure.
Do you think it's the Ghanaian food?
Surely the grace of God is there. The environment, the peace, the calmness, everything contributes to it. So, sure.
Wow. That's good. I mean, you seem to have God at heart. No wonder you told me that you're a woman who is in love. I remember when I asked you in love with who, you mentioned God first.
Okay.
And self second, and Nans.
Okay. That's how God has been with me, and God has brought me this far. Sure.
So you're too much in love with God.
Is there anyone that will not appreciate God? Because every day, every time we see His faithfulness all around us, and being grateful is the least we could do.
What motivates you as a person?
The smiles that I could be able to bring to someone, that's what motivates me.
Wow. So coming all the way from Nigeria to Ghana, share your journey with us.
Okay. I came to Ghana, and I did part of my secondary school here. Then from there, I went to the university, and in the university, it has been a wonderful experience, even back at the secondary level.
And which school was that in the secondary level?
That's Faith Community Baptist.
Oh, Medina.
Yes.
Okay.
At Medina. And I have had the opportunity to have make good friends that at least till now I could reach out at any point in time, and so it has been an interesting time till the time I got into the university at Pentecost University. Pentecost University gave me the opportunity to be able to learn so many things, and being able to bring out a part of me that God has been working on. when I got to Pentecost University, I was the assistant course rep
Okay.
for my class. And from there, I became the financial controller for the international student. From there, I became the president for the international student of Pentecost University. Then became the vice president for the Nursing and Midwifery Association for Pentecost University. And within this period, I was the speaker for NANS twice. Then here now being appointed as the chief of staff. So God has seen me through, and I see it as Pentecost being the ground that God used to be able to kind of bring out that aspect of my life for me to be able to learn and be able to make use of it. And at every point in time, all this, being able to be of help to someone, being able to resolve the problem or make a solution, do something. And at the end of the day, when the answer is being gotten and the person will smile and say, thank you, it means so much. Because so many out there either do not have the opportunity to such information or such help, but this person has received it and did not kind of look down on it, but being able to appreciate. I really thank God for that, because if not for God, it would not have been possible. So even with what I studied, nursing, by the time you have been able to attend to someone, and despite the way the person may feel at the sick bed, and the person is being able to kind of give you that smile and say thank you, it's something.
It's more or less like leadership is in your DNA. I mean, run us through the leadership positions that you've had to hold over the period.
Yes. And I think I will also kind of appreciate God for my parents. My dad is a pastor.
Okay.
And my mom is a teacher. So growing up,
and both of them are in Ghana, I guess.
They were.
Okay.
Yeah, but no more. They are back in Nigeria now. So growing up, as the firstborn, I'm always been left with the responsibility of being able to do one thing or the other at home, and to some point even in the church. And that's how my parents have brought me up, and not just only me, but the four of us. And so it is like when you see something that needs to be done, you don't have to wait for someone to do what you can do, so that at least at the end of the day, we have a better environment around us. So that's just the way it has been. And I thank God for my father and my mother, because they have been part of the journey and the reason that at least all this could come out. Because if not, at the very first stage wherein I became the assistant course rep, if I was not able to perform well, the opportunity for the next level would not have been made possible. So, but they were there throughout to kind of, see me through. And with what they have taught me back at home has helped me. Because even back at home, I could remember how busy my mom could be. And she'll say, okay, Grace, we are having this program. I will not be coming early, but whatsoever be it that needs to be done, ensure that it has been done.
Okay.
And that has just been it.
So Grace, Madam Chief of Staff, I know that there are always bitter portions of a cake.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't tell me that your own cake is so special so that you don't have such bitter portions. Throughout school, share some bitter experiences that you had with us,
Okay, I think
even as a foreigner.
yeah, okay, in terms of the beta, okay, I will not really say like that beta because everything we go through, it is for us to learn,
Okay.
be it good or bad. You have something to pick from it. So it all depends on you being able to learn and pick what you need to pick from it. So for me, I will say one, it's the issue of the communication in
Okay.
terms of the language. In my own class, being the only Nigerian, but it was still fun because there are some times wherein they will kind of like ask for an explanation, and
They as in your other
my
colleagues.
colleagues, yes, and to be able to make it understandable for them, the teacher will want to, as in, come down to their level, which is understandable. But after he has come down to their level, he also has to come down to my level, because at least at the same time, I am still in the class. I am with them, even though the language, I may not really get it. And God has been so faithful. I always have teachers that, even after explaining to my colleagues, they still explain to me. So it was not really that bad, but it was kind of like a rough, because for my younger ones, the language is easy for them. They speak, they sing, they do a lot of things, but for me, it's not like that. So maybe I would say some people have grace for those language stuff to be able to pick quickly, but for me, I don't know. So, but I'm still learning the language. Then also, in terms of being able to interact with people, I am that kind of person that's okay being quiet to myself. But with my colleagues, they kind of like, despite that, helped me to be able to, so I was able to be carried along. So it's not really like a bad experience, but I have learned so much.
I've learned so much.
And with that, I have good friends, good Ghanaian friends that at any point in time, I could reach out for any help or say, oh, I need this advice or something, and someone will be there.
We are young women watching this very interview, and then we want to learn from you. We want to also travel to another land for education. I mean, tell us, how do we do that? How do we live our life when we find ourselves there?
When we move out of where we are and to another place, we should bear it in mind that where you are is different from where you are going to. So when you have to be able to have the mindset of being able to adapt. Being able to adapt. There are good and bad things to adapt to, but being able to adapt to the positive things. Being able to, allow yourself, open yourself for changes, because this is not your home. You are outside home. It will not be always difficult or rough as people will say. It all depends on how you have opened your mind, how you are ready to adapt. That will make the work easy for you, being able to relate. Your upbringing will be different from their own upbringing. So you just have to kind of like also study them, understand them, to be able to know how best you can fit in. That's just it.
All right, so it's quite a wonderful discussion and conversation that we're having with Grace Amarachi Brown, who happens to be the Chief of Staff for the National Association of Nigerian Students, Ghana chapter, and then she's having a lot of education today. We learned a lot from you, madam. I mean, honestly speaking, I'm so much inspired by your journey. I mean, the little that you've shared with us so far. We're going to go for a break. But one thing that caught my interest was where you mentioned about the language being a barrier and that some people have grace. But I mean, it just ran through my mind that grace has no grace. All right, go for a break. We'll be back shortly. All right, thanks very much for still staying with us. This was Nigerians Abroad, and I'm still in the studio with Amarachi, Grace Brown, who is the Chief of Staff for the National Association of Nigerian Students, Ghana chapter, and we're having quite a wonderful conversation. And I'm loving it. I'm learning a lot. But let's not get to talk about Nans. You've had to be the speaker for Nans twice. So it means if I want to know about Nans, if I want somebody to talk to me about Nans, you're the best person to do that.
Well, with my little knowledge, I would love to my best of knowledge.
So share with me Nans, the National Association of Nigerian Students.
Okay, so the National Association of Nigerian Students, Ghana chapter, is a body wherein all the Nigerian students in the tertiary institution, we are all under. And it is a body that kind of regulates and, help us with our needs sometimes when it has to do maybe either with the government or anything that may be beyond the school. And sometimes you may also need someone to kind of like step into intervene, even though it's still within the school. So that's Nans. The interest of the student is what Nans is just all about, to be able to ensure that every Nigerian student in Ghana, it's okay, doing well, and having the best that they can.
So how were you able to achieve this?
I'll come back and say again, it is just God, the favor of God, because it is not of my own ability. Once you have an opportunity to do something, give it your best.
I have spoken to your incumbent president, President Samuel Edem.
Yeah.
And I know very much that sometimes it's hard for you to get support
Sure.
from people in higher authorities who must to or need to support you, give you the needed support as an organization for the entire Nigerian student body in the country or even around the world. Yet you are doing so much. Your vision, you're putting in so much so that it will come to light. I know the God factor, but aside from that, as an organization, how are you able to organize yourself and go through all the challenges so that at the end of the day, you still stand strong?
Okay, so now let me use this administration as an example. The vision or what this administration is targeting on doing or achieving is to be able to impact the Nigerian student as much as possible. And you can see that from the very first day of the journey till this very point, to be able to ensure that, as in the good of every Nigerian student, be it in Accra, be it in Tamale, wherever you are, yes, it is possible. You don't kind of, because I'm not at home, that does not mean I can't impact my environment. That does not mean I can't be the best that I am. You can. And sometimes you just need one or two push, one or two support to be able to do that. So impact for this administration has been the driving force to be able to impact. And with that at the end of every project, at the end of every work, you have been able to look back and said, okay, you have testimonies that, wow, I really, really, really enjoyed it. This was for me. You know, you have those testimonies of thank you for this, thank you for that. Now I know better. It's really something. As I said earlier on, you know, when you have been able to do something for someone that is just for my own side, and the person is being able to come back with that smile and say thank you, it gives you the energy to be able to move on for the next. It's not all the time that you expect things to just come, you know, on the platter of gold. Sometimes the rough time wherein it seems as if it's not coming through, it gives you an opportunity to be able to learn more ways of being able to do that thing and not get result, and being able to find the right way to be able to have the result you need. Just like the lights we have, it was done several times before the end result.
Okay.
So that's just the side of the hard part, that yes, it is difficult, it will be difficult, it has been difficult, but can it be done? Once it can be done, then let's give our best. Let it be at the end of the day that, okay, you have really given your best, but it's just that it was not possible. Not that you did not give your best.
So leadership have come and go over the period, and now you are here, your term of office. What are some of the things that you have done differently as the chief of staff?
So one of the things that I have been able to do as the chief of staff is to be able to, one, in terms of managing the administration, to ensure that what is needed to be done is done. There are some times where it maybe, you know, it will look like, okay, yeah, we may not be able to do this, but we have to find a way around it. We have to crack our heads around it. And sometimes when it, even though it looked like, okay, this is something that this person should do, and the person is not being able to do it, that does not mean because I'm the chief of staff, I will not be able to come down to do it. As long as it needs to be done, I have to get down and do, so that at the end of the day, what is needed to be done is done. Because if it's not done, the first point of contact, yes, it will be the president. And after the president, you see, that way they will look for, as in how to point fingers to blame. So you just have to, you know, get ready to do everything possible.
I mean, thank you for still staying with us all through the break. Please do well to subscribe to our channel. It's African Network Television, and do well to share our content. Like them when you watch them, and leave your comments behind. We would love to read them. What you think? This is we're having a conversation about student and student leadership and all of that, and women. It's very important that we have such conversations. But all too soon too, we'll be going to an end of this very conversation with Grace Amarachi Brown, who is the Chief of Staff for the National Association of Nigerian Students Ghana chapter. And we would want you to run us through your lineup of activities for the year.
Okay. So far what we have with our administration, before we round up this administration, we'll be having the Women's Summit, which will be having a tech workshop, that is the skills which comes with the tech. Then we'll be having leadership development, and this is just to be able to bring about the balance in terms of the lady being able to balance the family, career, and leadership. because there is need. As I said, some people see it like it's a scary thing, but there are people out there, up there, that are doing it. So you can also do it, and you should have that in mind to be able to go for that. So that is that. Then after the leadership development, which is in March, that is 6th and 7th, then we have the symposium, which is 30th of March.
Okay.
So the symposium is the first time ever in Nans, which we are bringing in stakeholders from Nigeria and also in Ghana to be able to ensure the well-being of the education of the Nigerian students here in Ghana, and even when they go back home, to be able to ensure that they are on track and everything is in order. Then by April, which is 24th to 25th, by God's grace, we'll be having our Congress.
April.
Yes. So we'll be having our Congress by that time. And we are believing God that on the 9th of June, we'll be able to have our inauguration. That is for the next leadership coming in
July.
In June.
In June.
Yes. So for that is just a summary of what is on board. But within this period, there is something we do have, which is the live chat, which takes place every month. So that will be coming in between as we...
How about the Face of Nans?
So yeah, and the Face of Nans also, we are looking at being able to merge it together with the Congress.
Okay.
During that period of time, so that at least we'll be able to have ample time for a lot of the beautiful Nigerian students to participate and being able to enjoy the benefits, being able to have something at the end of the day to take home.
So which means that by end of June, our dear Chief of Staff will be out of office.
Yes.
And what next for you?
Next for me is my career. That is, as in to be able to pursue as a nurse, which I am working on. So then, and in that light, being able to work is there, but I'll be going for my master's as God help me. So that's just the very close preparation.
But it can't just end there.
That's why I say the very close.
Okay.
Then from there, we are believing God for something much, at least bigger, in terms of not just Nigeria, in terms of the health aspect, but Africa. It is possible for every Nigerian and every African to be able to have good access to health. So what is it that is needed?
So what are some of the deficiencies that you've identified in our health sector as a continent?
Okay, some of the deficiencies that I have been able to kind of identify, one, it's having to do in terms of the numbers. We have the number of a nurse to the patient.
Okay.
Is
the patient to nurse ratio
is really, really, really big. That's number one. Then also in terms of being able to have access to health facilities. When I say health facilities, I mean in terms of the health insurance and treatment, all those things. Sometimes Africa is trying and we can do better. Just that some things that will demand the individual having to kind of like go out, or some of the operations that will demand much resources for that individual to be able to have it. Meanwhile, out there is a way wherein they go about it, wherein even though no matter how big the money may be needed to do that, there is a way wherein the government steps in to be able to ensure. But even here, we are struggling with our health insurance. Some hospitals do not work with it. Why? Because they feel like as if it's not working. They don't receive the response, and
Funds are not coming.
yeah, and if because this is the aspect where in the government kind of, come in, and if that is not really strong, you find it some people would think, oh, if I'm not feeling well, let me just stay at home and find a way to treat myself. Find a way to treat myself, and they end up being at home till the kids become worst before they now go to the hospital, wherein it's the hope of is very, very slim, as in it's not that much. So there is much that needs to be done in terms of also developing the health sector, wherein not just only in terms of funds, but the equipment needed for some major or minor operations being done.
So from all that I gathered, everything that you said, what I gathered most is, we having healthy citizens more, right?
Yeah.
Which is the reason why you touched on the patient to nurse ratio.
Sure.
So mathematically, it is not adding up.
It's not.
But here we are, we export nurses. What do you think about that one? Well, we have a lot of nurses who travel out of the country, out of the continent.
Yeah. And, those that travels out and
sometimes our government is proud to announce that, we be in Ghana, so we hear it. In Nigeria, we hear it. Sometimes the government, they are proud to say that we've exported these number of nurses, that number of health practitioners, and what have you. When you hear that, when you see such stories,
I'm kind of looking on how to be able to really answer this, because in terms of the pay, to be frank, it's not really favorable.
okay,
And looking at the economy in Ghana, at the end of the day, you don't really have what is needed for you to be able to take care of yourself as you have taken care of someone. It's kind of disturbing. And if that is disturbing, that means already you are not fit to be able to take care of another person. So in looking for solutions for me to be fit to take care of another person, when I have option B that is of a better pay, you find people easily going to that. So now in that area, seriously, the government needs to look into it and find a way to be able to ensure that the nurses, the doctors, the lab technicians, every health worker is being paid well, being taken care of, so that they will be able to deliver what they need to. Because if that is not looked into, at the end of the day, the good ones are being taken out.
Yeah.
Because before you get the opportunity to go out, you will be tested. And it is the best that is being taken, and we'll be left with, I don't want to use the word, so that's just let's just look at it in that way.
Talk to Nigerians abroad. That is your camera. Just look at the camera and talk to Nigerians abroad.
With regards to?
Regards to anything that you want to share with Nigerians abroad.
Okay. I will say, as a Nigerian here in Ghana, for every Nigerian, wherever you are in the world, be the best ambassador that you can be, and be proud to be a Nigerian.
All right, thank you very much. It's wonderful to have had this discussion with you. A very friendly conversation, and I know that we have learned a lot from you. Myself, I have learned a lot from you, and with all that you seek to do, And it is such people that we pray, all of us pray, that one day we would see you take up leadership positions proper to man our country, our continent, and for that matter, we'll see good things coming to us because we're people in charge, and we started from somewhere, even as young people. So we become better persons whilst we rise through, you know, through leadership roles, day in, day out. So thank you very much for the opportunity to engage with you today.
Thank you.
And also thank you for staying with us and watching this very episode of Nigerians Abroad. We had a conversation with Madam Grace Amarachi Brown, who is the Chief of Staff for the National Association of Nigerian Students Ghana chapter. She has been a speaker for the organization on 2 different occasions, and she has held a couple of positions as a student leader. So if you be a student anywhere, or you are now going to the university and you want to become a leader, please find this woman and then read her like a book so that you know how to order your steps right. This has been Nigerians Abroad. Thank you very much for staying with me. My name is Kofi Opon-Ochiri. Do well to subscribe to our channel. It's African Network Television. Share our content, like them even as you watch it, and then your comment, we'd love to read them. Please do well to leave them behind. And also, you follow us on all social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter, which is now X. It is Africa Network Television. And follow up on Nans-Ghana on all social media platforms. Thank you very much for staying with us.
Thank you.